This is Two Teachers Chat with your hosts, Brenda McCrate and Peggy Roper.
Peggy.
Hi, Brenda.
We are
Two
Teachers Chat. So, what's your question today?
My question is, we have talked in past videos about the value of making the instruction relevant to our students. What are some good ways of motivating students by having a relevancy?
One of the reading series we had, they would have an essential question that the kids had to answer. And that's relevancy.
Okay.
You know, if you're asking them ahead of time, here's the most important question we're going to answer, so we need to focus on that. That's one way.
Okay.
You know, in science, I used essential questions all the time because I didn't want to give them the information. I was teaching inquiry-based science. And so what I would do is say, here's the unit question and here's the lesson question that we're going to try to answer. So by the end of the unit, we should have an answer to this question.
Let me back up for a minute about relevancy. In my mind, I'm defining relevancy as, why am I teaching this child, or why do these students need to learn this? How will it help them in their future?
Yeah, and that is part of relevancy.
Okay.
But part of relevancy can be simply, we're going to try to answer this question because the brain works with questions. I'm convinced of it.
Yes.
I've done it too long. I may not have research, but I just know
you do have
that
research
when you
on
ask questions,
Uh-huh.
the brain wants to find answers. So that's your relevancy right there. If it's a math lesson, math is so practical, so often. I mean, maybe not calculus, okay? But by then, hopefully, they're into math enough that they're doing it. But when you're doing addition and subtraction and multiplication and division, teaching them why they need it first will help set the stage for those why kids. Why do I need to learn this? Okay? So if I am doing, long division, okay? I'm going to talk about a career where there's a lot of math involved, okay? And so, or something that I've done, I have a really big recipe. For some reason online, they had the recipe and it serves 100. And I want to serve my family of 4. So what do I need to do? I need to divide the recipe by 25. Everything on the recipe I need to divide by 25 because I only have 4 people. Because 4 times 25
And you
equals
don't
100.
want too much salt.
And I don't want leftovers forever either.
Right.
No, yeah, exactly. I don't want too much
Right.
salt and I don't want leftovers forever. So
Right.
there's a reason, okay? When you do subtraction and addition, how are you going to know that your checkbook, that you have enough money? Very vital. When you're learning to get change, count change, how do you know they're counting it right? Because let's be honest, some people don't. Wow.
Right.
And they're grown-ups, When you're reading, a couple times a year, we just grab everything we were reading at home and bring it in. And we'd sit there and we'd say, see, so I'm reading a teaching magazine because I got to be a better teacher.
Right.
If you become an engineer, or a scientist or a doctor or a rocket
Or you
builder or
want
whatever.
to fix cars.
Right.
There are car magazines.
Right. Car
know,
magazines.
they're-
If you're a photographer, there are
Right.
photography magazines.
Or metal band.
Right.
Rock band.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Everything that you could want, there's probably a
Worldwide
magazine there
wrestling.
for
Yes.
you. I'm always saying, oh, well, if you enjoy this geology, then you might become a geologist and you might look for oil or you might survey and, and if
Or
you're
find
interested
gold.
in
or
gold
find,
or,
aluminum.
and if
Yeah.
you love this history lesson because it's about ancient peoples, you might become an anthropologist, and anthropologists get to travel and do this and do this and do
Could
this.
you bring in a can of Sprite and say, do you know how many people have had to put it together to have this can of Sprite?
Absolutely.
It just doesn't grow out of the ground.
Right,
Exactly.
So I'm always trying to tie it to a career they might be interested in or something relevant.
Our students come to us with particular things they like.
Right.
Particular things that just turn them on when they
Yep.
think about them. And how do you get to know your students in that way?
Well, there's a lot of ways. Teachers do all about me books. They do surveys at the beginning of the year.
I have my students listed,
Yeah.
and then if one of them says that they went on a hike, I'll write hike. You know, if one of them
Sure.
says grandma, I write grandma,
Yeah.
so that I can look across the line and go, okay, soccer, hike, grandma. Okay, I can connect with them. Or maybe what we are teaching in writing can be about a hike. You know, or what, I mean, I can collect the information so that I just have points of connection
Exactly.
for relevancy.
I keep, because I'm auditory, so it all goes into the head and I don't tend to write things down.
One of the things you were talking to me earlier was sort of categories like culture. What are the cultures represented in your class?
Exactly. So get to know the cultures of your class. And if you can tie things to the culture. One time I was doing a lesson being evaluated by my principal. I did a really good lesson. And then in the evaluation he said, you know, if you could have found somebody of, this was Hispanic culture, somebody of Hispanic culture that was highly involved in the Boys and Girls Club and shown a little 1-minute video of them, that would really have made it more relevant for most of our kids. What a great thing, you know? Biographies of people in the field, you know, that are diverse or of their culture. Just really
Photos.
Photos
That the librarian can
Right.
get for you.
Exactly.
We did one time a sloth. You know, so we were
sure.
practicing reading stories, and I thought, well, what if I just put the nose of a sloth on a photo and had the students guess what the animal is?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that goes back to
That's
your essential,
engaging.
right? It's
and
engaging. they've
turning the brain
guessed.
on by novelty.
Right.
All those good things.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's funny because research suggests that just by guessing, they are 15% more likely to remember.
Yes.
Once you give them the answer.
Absolutely.
So this goes back around to your essential question.
Right.
That you begin, how would you create essential questions?
What you want to do is, as often as possible, look at what your learning target is or could be. Okay. And then see if you can phrase that like a question. I can identify the 3 main types of rock, okay? Or in social studies, I can name 3 ways the Ute Indians used the buffalo, and that may not even be right. Forgive me if it was the Cheyenne or whatever.
Right.
But so instead of putting a learning target up, I'm going to put an essential question up, or a focus question.
Right.
Focus question, essential question. And I'm going to say, what are the differences and similarities between the 3 main types of rock? And then I'm going to say, how did the Ute Indians use the buffalo in different ways?
Right.
Okay, so I'm turning that brain on. Their curiosity is being jogged. Okay, now we want a learning target. So maybe in science, it's I can use observation skills to identify objects or identify properties of rocks. So ties with a question, not exactly the same. They go together.
If we talk about the research done for children that are learning English as a second language, they're saying to pair that essential question or the learning target with some visuals or realia. I was thinking if I could, I would bring in samples of the 3 types of rock.
Oh,
you know,
I'm sorry, that was a given for me.
Oh, okay. And
because
then,
it's science, and of course we're doing hands-on, minds-on, not just mind up here science.
Right.
Yes, of course.
Like I can't bring my sloth into class.
No, but you can get a video or a picture of it.
Right. Exactly.
Yes,
Or maybe a stuffed animal if I'm really lucky.
Yeah.
Or, you know, just something that brings to these children not just abstract concepts, but
Right.
relevancy
Exactly.
of this is,
Exactly.
this is a stuffed animal sloth. Let's look at it. After we've learned about sloth, we'll decide if this is a good sample.
Exactly.
Or
Right.
if it were real, what would
Right.
we expect it to do?
With the question with the buffalo,
Right.
I would definitely have pictures or videos of buffalo.
Uh-huh.
I probably don't have a buffalo skin in my garage, but I might know a hunter at school that has an elk skin, a deer skin,
Right.
especially if I'm talking city kids and they're not hunting
Right.
and they don't even know what a pelt of an animal looks
Right.
like.
Right.
Maybe I go down the hall to my lovely building manager who
Yes.
hunted
Yes.
and I say, hey, do you have some deer skin or some elk skin that I can borrow? I want the kids to know what a pelt is.
If we go through the curriculum and look ahead and
Oh, my
maybe get
goodness,
some
yes.
ideas of in a
Yeah.
month I'm going to need,
Right.
da-da-da-da, gee, how will I, you can find it, you might even be able to find it Craigslist free on
You
the
might.
computer.
And so for all of you first year teachers who haven't had time to look at the curriculum and
That's
really
right.
you're just holding on. Okay, so give yourselves a break first of all.
Right.
Okay. If you can stay a week ahead, bravo for you.
Yes.
If you can stay a day ahead, hurrah.
Yeah.
And if you
Yeah.
literally came in this morning and you turned the page and went, oh no, there is no way that I can give them a realia about this.
Mm-hmm.
Google is your bestest friend.
Yep.
You're going to say to the kids, would you like me to Google that? And they will go, yes. And they will think you are wonderful. And then take that book home over vacation and get ahead and read ahead and make yourself a list and get to know your staff and who hunts and who gardens and all those good things and who you can beg, borrow, and steal.
Right,
Who's
right,
been there
right.
20 years and probably has a closet full of stuff.
Well, and that's what I was
There
going to
you
say.
go.
If you get the stuff, then put like what week number, and stick it in a
Absolutely.
box
Yeah.
so that you have
If you
a
can
box
keep it,
of-
and if not,
Yeah.
put it on your chart or in
Right.
your manual.
Right.
Make sure I ask Roger for this.
Right.
He'll give me a pelt. Okay, good.
I'm not sure what happened, but there was a squirrel that was eaten, except the tail was left behind in my front yard. So I picked up the tail and kept it because that might be food cycle. It might be, all sorts of fur for mammals. We could use it at different times.
Oh, yeah.
So I have a couple of boxes of stuff that, really discardable when you think about it. But for realia, it's marvelous.
Uh-huh.
Yep. So there you go. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
And we are out of coffee.
Coffee.
For sure. Have a good day.
Thank you for watching 2 Teachers Chat. Until next time, and remember, teachers touch lives forever.